Hey everyone, I'm Chef Tom and welcome to my workbench. Today we're going to take a deep dive into the most vintage of vintage gaming. That's right, we're going to look at a Pong clone. This is the Coleco Telstar Alpha, and it's got a great story. Now, let's take a trip back to 1977, the era of disco and of course, Pong. It was everywhere. Coleco had launched their Telstar series, and the Alpha was the 5th iteration within it. The 1977 Telstar Alpha was a slick update to their pong-tastic console lineup. This black and gray beauty ditched the bulky case of its predecessors that kept the paddle-pumping fun alive with 4 classic games: tennis, hockey, handball, and Jai Alai. Powered by the trusty AY3-8500 chip that was seen in so many Pong clones, it may not have sported a light gun or cartridges, but the Alpha hit the right price point for making home gaming even more accessible. Alright, let's take a look at our Alpha here. It is a bit dirty, but otherwise no real scuffs or marks. Big fan. Move on off, reset, skill levels in our games: tennis, hockey, handball, and Jai Alai. Let's get into it. These are 4 actually fairly big screws. Let's get in this thing. The Alpha was designed to run on 9 volts, either supplied internally through 6 C-cell batteries, or with an optional external AC adapter. Pretty straightforward once we get in here. See, I have to take the hats off the potentiometers in order to get this out. Just stuck on there. So at the heart of this machine is a General Instruments AY3-8500-1 chip. There's also 2 CMOS logic chips here. One is a quad 2-input NAND gate. The other is a dual 4-input OR gate, and that is the one used to combine all the different output signals to create one video image. They glued the speaker in, so washing them. It's just hot glue. I can glue it back in. So I'm just going to go ahead and clean this up with some dish soap and water. I'm not going to worry about any scuffs or anything. I think some of the patina of this is worth keeping. However, I was thinking that the silver was either painted on or silk screened, like the TRS-80, but remember, this was built to a price point, so these are stickers, and hopefully I didn't damage them too much by just washing them. I think once this dries, it'll be just fine. TV here still has an old analog coax port. We should be able to plug that right in. Make sure it's in game. That goes out to the TV. All right. Our alligator clips. And let's see what happens when I turn it on. No smoke. That's a good start. That's not much. So I've got it on channel 3, which should be the default RF output. Let's see if this works. No signal. Oh, don't tell me no signal. Looking at this side. Maybe it's a different channel. 2. 4. 3. Ooh, that's loud. All right. It's connected. Granted, this TV just may not know what to do with that signal, but it is working, and I think we can work on that. Oh, there we go. It's finally figured out the picture. I don't remember what does what, but reset. It's going to take a second. Can turn these. There it is. Finally lock on. Oh, geez. That's sensitive. There's got to be something I can do about that. I guess you're not normally turning it all the way at the pot. You're turning it. Or the pots just might be dirty. We'll clean them out. So one file was corrupted on my camera when I went to download, and it turns out it was the file that had me putting deoxit into the potentiometers and the switches and quoting Adrian Black and saying, "Deoxit that socket!" Get a little deoxit in there. Okay, so it's been about 3 days of me trying to figure out this sync issue. I got the oscilloscope out, I got the multimeter out, I have tested everything, I hooked the speaker up, and I was getting noise out of the speaker, and so I know the chip is working, I know it's outputting everything. I can trace through all the logic seems to be working. What seems to be the problem is I get to this diode here, CR1, and on one side of the diode, I have a very clean NTSC signal that I'm pretty happy with, and I think we could use as a composite output. On the other side, I have garbage, and it's the same garbage that I get at J1 here for the RF output. So I think the first step is going to be replacing this. It's a 1N4148 diode. I should have those around here somewhere. So I'll start by replacing that diode. If that doesn't fix it, then I'm going to take the diode out completely and see if I can just do composite video and just add a composite video jack that would, I'll put it on a little proto board over here, and since this wire comes in and plugs in there, I'll just run it in and plug it into that instead, and it'll be composite instead of RF. And I think that'll actually be more useful, because even though I've got a TV from the edge of the analog digital over the air era where I can plug in an analog device and it will still work. Nobody else has that these days, but we could still do composite into a RetroTink or some other HDMI upscaler. I could go the full Dave Plummer route and rebuild it for HDMI. That is absolutely a possibility. But I want to see if I can get this repaired, and if I can't, we'll do the composite. So let's get back to work.
2 hours later.
Alright, so I've pulled it off where I think I have the clean NTSC signal, just bodged in a RCA jack. It's got power. I still don't have a good signal now. I don't have another TV to test this on right now. But it is composite, so maybe I can pass it to the RetroTink and see what the RetroTink thinks. Okay, so I've gone ahead and, since directly into the composite input on the AV didn't work, I'm going to go through the RetroTink. This is my 2X. It should pick up the signal and do something with it, I hope. Not supported. So my TV doesn't like whatever the RetroTink is outputting on the HDMI, but it is getting something, because if it was getting nothing at all, I would still get the color bars that I got before I turned it on. As far as what it's outputting, I don't know. I don't I mean, I could try other TVs to hook it up, see if something else supports whatever it's taking. I'm just not sure. And I don't have the patience and time to keep working on this. I've got other projects I want to work on. So, in the end, I think I'm going to have to go the route that Dave Plummer went. And if you haven't seen his video on recreating Pong in 2023, I seriously suggest checking that out. I'll put a link in the description. But it's going to be a complete internal rebuild, and I don't know if I'll go as far as he did with going to HDMI output instead of composite, but I'm going to follow in his footsteps and rebuild it within this case. So externally, it will look perfect, and internally, it will be modern. And I think that's a fair combination of things for a retro tech kind of project. On that note, I wanted to thank Mike from Retro Tech or Die for starting hashtag RetroJanuary. I haven't participated as fully as I would have liked. I appreciate his shout out back on the 3rd. Obviously, Dave Plummer will be my first shout out as I just referenced him, and Mike will be my second. And watch me over on Twitter or X or whatever it's called, and I'll shout out a bunch more people through the rest of the month to try and play catch up with everybody. So thank you, and enjoy Retro January.